From this tiny Malaysian fishing village, these 16 Americans are beginning the adventure of a lifetime. They have volunteered to be marooned for 39 days on mysterious Borneo. This is their story. This is Survivor.
If you weren't actively living through it at the time, it's easy to forget what a massive cultural phenomenon Survivor was during its early seasons. Probably the last major cultural revolution to have been developed during the end of history period that was the fall of the Soviet Union to the attacks on the Twin Towers on September 11th. Reality television, for better or worse, may be the most transformative force in America in the 21st century.
I also want to thank my great friends, the Roma. Where's Roma? Beautiful Roma Downey. That voice is so beautiful. That everything is so beautiful about Roma, including her husband, because he's a special, special friend. Mark Burnett, for the wonderful introduction. So true. So true. I said to the agent, I'm sorry. The only thing wrong, I actually got on the phone, fired him myself, because he said, you don't want to do it, it'll never work, it'll never, ever work, you don't want to do it. I said, listen. But I really fired him after it became the #1 show. But we had tremendous success on The Apprentice, and when I ran for president, I had to leave the show. That's when I knew for sure I was doing it. And we know how that turned out. The ratings went right down the tubes. It's been a total disaster. And Mark will never, ever bet against Trump again.
Over 26 years of television in which various gameplay styles have been put to the test in the world's greatest game. The origin and genesis of this project was to actually see what we could get from the controversies surrounding the game. Incredibly interesting and fascinating if you're the same type of neurodivergent as me, where you try and gamify everything to understand the systems and rules so that we will be able to kind of engage and understand that. That's what I originally wanted to do. But it seems kind of frivolous to talk about the kind of minutia of Survivor in the wake of the Epstein files, the ICE assaults on the citizenry of Minnesota, and the soon-to-be ground invasion of Iran. As I was trying to figure out what I wanted this kind of project to be, and I was looking through some of the old research, I found a quote from The Player of Games by Ian M. Banks.
This is the story of a man who went far away for a long time, just to play a game. The man is a game player called Gurgi. The story starts with a battle that is not a battle and ends with a game that is not a game.
Perhaps a better way to explain why games are important would be this quote from the novel.
All reality is a game. Physics at its most fundamental, the very fabric of our universe, results directly from the interaction of certain fairly simple rules and chance. The same description may be applied to the best, most elegant, and most intellectually and aesthetically satisfying games. By being unknowable, by resulting from events which at the subatomic level cannot be fully predicted, the future remains malleable and retains the possibility of change, the hope of coming to prevail. Victory, to use an unfashionable word. Generally, all the best mechanistic games, those which can be played in any sense perfectly, can be traced to civilizations lacking a relativistic view of the universe. The very first rank games acknowledge the element of chance, even if they rightly restrict raw luck.
Games are important. We've already been able to see some of the massive cultural changes that have happened from the politicization of gaming. I'm not going to be restating a bunch of grievances from Gamergate. But I do want to see how a game that is representative and reliant upon Americans bringing their own values, perceptions, limitations. Games are important. It can tell us a lot about what is the relative morality of our society at a point. One where we're not just looking at the content, but how we prioritize interpretations of rulings. Admittedly, this is going to seem a little bit self-indulgent, and I'm not going to really argue that point. I want to do it because it seems weird and interesting. A lot of things are going on right now, and it feels wrong to just fully disengage from everything and just focus on something fun without kind of understanding the implications in the larger system. Still, when we're looking at directly political events, that can get a bit annoying, a bit stressful, and lead to burnout pretty fast. What I want this project to be is to take this cultural moment of Survivor 50 in the hands of the fans, and what that is able to say about Survivor at this milestone event, as well as how we can kind of relate it to the growing trends, cultural developments, and just oddities of having to figure out how to socially engage with other people in our society right now. Well, hopefully it's fun. If nothing else, it will keep you distracted from a lot of other horrible things on your feed. Welcome to American Dreamland.
We were born in America, 20 years in the dawn of America, and it's not so terrible in America. And if you go to the movies, don't believe what they show at the movies.
So, Misty, I just want to ask you a question.
Yes.
What do you know about the television program Survivor?
So I know as a young child that it was very impactful and culturally relevant
Mm-hmm.
in the 2000s. I remember watching it with my mom.
Yeah. So
Always
you would
with
have
my
been
mom. I remember Jeff.
Jeff. Love Jeff.
Mhm. Jeff, he's always been the host, right? Like, we've
Yeah.
never not had Jeff.
Uh,
And I think as a kid, what stuck out most to me more than the games like that they played or like when they versed each other was when they voted each other out. Like, that stuck out the most.
yeah.
Just
So
the ambiance,
the tribal council.
the tribal council, the backstabbing of it all. And I think as a kid, I was an anxious kid. I think it gave me anxiety just to see people's names. And I'd
Yeah.
kind of feel bad when they pick somebody. I'd be like, ooh,
So
they really don't like that person. I don't think I could name any seasons at all.
okay.
Only viral clips, to be honest, that have
Yeah.
gone viral, like in recent years.
So do you remember anyone who I know you know one person who has played the game.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know any other player? Or remember
Not by
any?
name. I remember some because recently my exposure to it as an adult has been I have to travel a lot for my current job, and it's always on. I'll watch it when I'm in the hotel room or in the plane. Like, it's on a lot on flights or when I'm just chilling in the hotel rooms after a conference.
Yeah. But just know we are. I want it to be known and on the record that this podcast and the host of this podcast, Stan Mike White,
It's great.
I regularly use
Love them.
GIF of him just like getting drunk, just telling someone good luck while they're foremost. The most beloved living man in this podcast, you have Mike White, who like created.
He's hilarious on Survivor.
He's hilarious.
For me, I'm a Survivor obsessive fanatic. Everybody in my business wants the Oscar. It's like, you're losers. Like, I want to win Survivor.
Yeah. Well, one of my favorite Survivor moments of all time is when former San Francisco Giants player Jeff Kent gets voted out, he's just so angry, and his final words are just like,
You know what pisses me off? Is I think I've made about $60 million playing baseball, and I want this frickin' $1 million in this game. And it's not even $1 million, it's 600 grand by the time Obama takes it. I'm a Game 7 World Series loser. You know, I've played in the biggest games in the world and the worst games in the world, but this just sucks.
This is a very tenuous time for me to be a Survivor fan, because I need it to be good. I need it to be good because of how much everything else sucks right now. We are at this very momentous event.
It's 50.
50, a very stacked cast. The new season of Australian Survivor just premiered. This is the first season without longtime host JLP. Jeff is kind of like the exciting teacher who wants to inspire you and bring joy. JLP is the uncle who, whenever there's a family function, is always personable, but always exactly 2 beers deep. And it's just great.
Yeah.
And I want to make it clear, I'm going to watch season 51. I'm going to watch the next season of Australian Survivor.
Oh. Yeah, I feel like that's...
Don't. Just don't. I'm hanging by a thread. And the thing I'm hanging over, it's bottomless. If I drop, I never hit the bottom. Do you get it?
It is really wild to think about the fact that when I was in high school, you basically were dealing with just all of the anti-war stuff with like the war in Iraq, the just massive level of, you know, conservatism and like trying to ostracize anything, you know, to the left of like the Clinton family or whatever, and then just everything that was like leading up to. I mean, you had like, we were just about to have the financial crisis, so you had like this weird influx of like money and budgeting. I mean, just there was a huge period, like I don't know how much you remember of the Obama campaign, but that was something that was pretty huge and big. And it's just, whenever I think of like what explains that high school like experience, like if anyone was to just come and tell me what was the post 9/11 Iraq war culture like, I think Flavor of Love is probably the best example of that.
Glasses up in the air. After we do the toast, I was like, what is that the smell in my crib, yo? Right now, I'm gonna leave y'all for a little bit. Then I seen this girl in the back. She kind of went out of frame for a minute, but then she came back. But thanks for coming down, y'all. When she came back, she had this look on her face like,
That's my
hey, welcome.
Cheers, man.
See y'all later and blessings, all right? Have a good time, y'all.
Oh my God, that's nasty. I smelled it.
Elimination is over. I just want a sigh of relief. So I take this deep breath and what is that smell?
My God! And as I'm going up the steps, I look down and I was like, no.
Hey, watch your step. I like someone, yeah, watch out.
What is that?
Oh my goodness. Watch out, I think.
I was like, wait a minute, I know we don't have no dogs in here, but they're on my stairs. Oh, hey, yo. I'm like, where did this come from?
Something's pooped on the floor.
Something is on herself, kid.
And everyone's like, eh.
What bathroom is she at?
How am I supposed to get upstairs? Oh my goodness.
Hey, yo, she opened up the bathroom door. Something jumped out. Oh, my God. That smell was something.
I was like holding it, and then out of nowhere, it's like my stomach was just like, bitch, you got me. I'm like, I have to go to the bathroom. So, like, it just, like, pushed itself out.
Seasons of this is a, like, hugely momentous thing. And why I believe in the term reality TV versus something like documentary. And I want to make it very clear, like, reality TV is garbage, and I eat that garbage up. For it to excel, it needs to be, I think of what makes something like cinema or something, is that there's a sense of timelessness to it. Even if it is very reflective of the times, it has a subject, and it is focusing on that, and it can kind of rise above those kind of temporal restrictions. Like, you know, a lot of like 70s sci-fi or 70s thrillers are based off of the kind of weird paranoia and like deindustrialization that was happening in America, but it speaks to these deeper concerns. That's why, like, you know, we still watch and love those movies. Reality TV, crazy party guys in downtown LA, and now we're just like a mid-50s gay couple in the valley, and I'm just like, why is there a show about that? It's just like my neighbors, like, growing up. But what it is, reality TV is always a reflection of the era. It's not to say there can't be timeless moments. Probably the last time Survivor broke containment into normie spaces, the first openly autistic contestant. And there was a moment where she was having a lot of frustrations in a challenge after a tribe switch. And there was a moment where one of her former tribe mates, like, was like physically pained because he couldn't be there to support her because she was now on a different tribe type of thing. And it was this moment, Jeff cried. Yeah, it's... I feel a little bad.
Jeff's a sweetheart.
Jeff is now a sweetheart, which, honestly...
Yeah, he used to kind of be mean.
Oh, listen, I miss Sassy Jeff so much, but, like, I get it. The second is that, especially in times of chaos, of how do you celebrate, is we all go into just, like, our things, of just kind of going into that. But I think, you know, we're also in a time where, you know, it's hard to be normal. And what I mean by that is, like, well, I think we talked about it in our last recording, is like, how do you be a liberal in 2026? And what I mean by that is, I think that's a very different question than what we would typically say is the liberal voter. Of, like, that's a different question of, are they gonna, you know, support DSA? Are they gonna become fascist, alt-right type of things? But I'm talking about the people who, my ideology is 20th century American liberalism that I was taught in high school. How do you do that after the Biden era, the changes that were happening in the world? You have Trump's re-election, and then you have the Democratic Party not really changing their position on Israel all that much, despite a majority of Americans. The vast majority of their base is just... What do you do when there is this thing that doesn't have an alternative, kind of goes into that? Of, you know, like, it's kind of like, what would I do if they just canceled Survivor? QAnon was spiritually right. A bunch of weird pedophiles are controlling the government. And it's like, yeah, that's bad. But, you know, I mean, we have evidence of, like, wow, this bad thing has happened. Not only do we have this evidence, I think almost everyone agrees, yeah, we should punish those people. Like, the only people who are, like, underselling it are, like, the people who themselves are directly implicated or will directly suffer if those implicated are punished. Like, there's no, like, contrarian who's just like, actually, it's like... But the problem we then have is, we agree that this is happening, we agree this is a problem, but how it influences people or what it justifies is, like, so different and so, like, you know, Q people are taking this very differently from Candace Owens people, who are taking it very differently from us, like, you know, leftist people, who are taking it very differently from, like, the libs of just saying, like, no, it's just a Trump problem or whatever. So it is, like, how are we able to kind of get along? What I want to ask is, have you ever heard of, speaking of reality TV, a little television show called Black White?
I don't think so. It sounds familiar, but I don't know if I'm familiar.
So, Black White, which was executive produced by Ice Cube, was a show in which, in order to examine race relationships in 2006 America, the white family put on blackface and pretended to be black. The black family put on whiteface and pretended to be white.
I see. So it was like wife swap, but...
racially.
But race swap?
No, it wasn't like, let's have this person in a different situation. It's like, let's put a dude in blackface.
I actually think I saw clips of this, actually. Because didn't they have them walk around and encounter, like, go out in public?
These people led lives in
like,
blackface.
Wasn't it kind of like White Chicks? But not like like the comedy.
We were in this weird period of kind of beginning to acknowledge how our society, or at least more acknowledgement of where our society was when it came to, like, kind of racial issues.
Everything ain't black and white. Did you get your race card? Hell no. I didn't get my race card. Did you get your race card? Hell no. I didn't get my race card. Everything ain't black and white. Did you get your race card? Homeboy, where you get your race card? Did you get your race card? White boy, what is a race card?
Do you want to take a guess as to why Cook Islands is an infamous season?
Why is that?
You know, Survivor used to have themes where they would have a theme that was kind of like the divining kind of twist and everything for the season.
Was the theme love?
Ooh, no.
No? Betrayal?
No.
Friendship?
It was the most racially diverse season of Survivor.
Diversity? Inclusion?
Close!
They have been divided into 4 very unique tribes: Asian American, Caucasian, Latino, and African American.
Watch it!
It is a social experiment like never before. Each tribe will live on their own island. For the next 39 days, they will be abandoned and left to fend for themselves. But this is more than just a test of survival skills. This is also a test of social skills.
I think what Cook Islands did is that final 3 came down to between Ozzy and Yul Kwan. Yul won by 1 vote. And I think that with Yul winning, it proved that the game was fundamentally a social strategy game with the kind of more competitive elements and the survival elements meant to add stress to that social strategy game. I think a really interesting way is to compare their returns. Yul basically got voted out early on simply because he was playing the game too hard. The tribal counselor, he gets voted out he's describing how fire tokens work and the impact that this has on the game. So I will go anywhere, anytime in the Survivor commentary community, and I will defend fire tokens with my last breath. I think fire tokens are really cool. I totally understand why they were a little bit underwhelming in Winners at War, because there was just so much going on, and it was the first time that they were used. I also get Mike White's criticism of they were going to bring fire tokens back, and he just said, like, Jeff gave this rant about, like, everything that's happening, and all Mike White said is like, okay, but how is that fun? And I get it. Complication does not equal more fun, but it can. And I really like the idea. I think that is a really interesting way to, like, handle the kind of meta regarding advantages.
I mean, it's entirely true. The game has evolved. It's much more complex, much more fast-paced. I'm playing a very different game than I played the first time around. I've had to lie more in this game already than I did the entire time on Cook Islands, because you're voting someone out, but now you want them to like you and not think that you were part of voting them out so that they will give you their fire tokens. That adds yet another layer of duplicity that did not exist before, and this is now like 3 notches above where I played before.
This game sounds fantastic.
It is. I think it's really interesting. The fire tokens gives you an opportunity to have this kind of market economy to align incentives. So for example, you might say, okay, I think we should do this, but the person says, no, this is too risky. I don't want to do it. But what if I give you a fire token to do it? Then at that point, the economics work out. They're thinking, okay, the reward is worth the risk, and that adds a whole new layer of options that didn't exist before.
So Wendell, you do have to lie to people.
Can someone get voted out of the game of Survivor without receiving any votes against them?
I want to say typically no, but I'm sure there's been an exception.
Oh, very famously, because, you know, like at Tribal Council, there's someone who has individual immunity, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So at the final 6 of Game Changers, someone had immunity.
Right.
There was a vote, and then the person at the bottom was feeling nervous, so he had an immunity idol. So he played that immunity idol on himself. You with me so far?
Yes.
Now, he was really good at finding idols, so he actually had 2 hidden immunity idols. And knowing that even this late into the game, it's still a numbers game, he took his second idol and he played it for his number 1 ally. So, you're with it so far.
So
there's
far,
6
okay.
people.
So he played it?
So there's 6 people. 1 person has immunity. 2 idols were played.
Okay.
What do you think happens next?
Somebody gets kicked out.
No. So, another guy who's named Troyzan. Okay, so...
Troyzan. Is that his real name?
On the new Survivor, there can only be one king of the jungle.
What's your name? Tarzan. One guy's called Tarzan, and I'm like, he can't be Tarzan. I'm Troyzan.
Troyzan and Tarzan are now neck and neck.
Oh.
It's his nickname.
Sure.
Also, fun fact about that. So, originally that season, there were 2 tribes of 10. At the final 18, they did what they call a tribe expansion, where instead of just swapping tribes, they add a 3rd tribe into the mix. So Troyzan was on the 3rd of the auxiliary tribe, and typically how the game of Survivor works is that in the tribal stage of the game, each tribe has an idol hidden at their beach in some capacity. Now that there was a 3rd tribe, Troyzan found the idol on that beach. He was also in a pretty decent position strategically in the game. I don't think that tribe ever went to Tribal Council. And then they did another tribe shuffle where they switched it back to 2 tribes, So I think he only went to like 1 or 2 tribal councils before the merge. So he didn't really need it. He was then in a pretty decent alliance or OIS people like ahead of him. So he was able to hold on to this idol for most of the game. He's feeling a little nervous. He doesn't know where the numbers are. So what do you think he does?
He plays his...
Yeah, he plays his idol on himself.
He plays his idol. Yeah, on himself. Because he's nervous. He's scared.
So, you're with me so far. There's 4 people immune at this tribal council.
Yeah. So we're down to 2.
Yes.
Votes have already been cast, right?
Votes have already been cast.
Votes have already been cast. And so now we're down to the 2.
You didn't take into account the legacy advantage.
Oh my God.
What's the legacy advantage, you say? You see, in the initial marooning, there was a hidden advantage that someone found in the shuffle. That person who found it was not Sarah Lucina, the person who played it. Who played it was fan favorite Sierra Dawn Thomas. How the legacy advantage worked is it was the equivalent of an idol with 2 caveats, or 2 additions to it. 1, it could only be played at 2 points in the game, which was the final 13, which was the merge vote, and the final 6. However, if you got voted out with the legacy advantage in your possession, you then had to will it to someone still in the game.
Okay.
So when Sierra was voted out, she willed it to Sarah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So that means Suri Fields, considered by many the greatest to have never won the game. This is her 4th time. Guess what happens to her?
She's gone.
She gets voted out despite receiving 0 votes because there is no other way for anyone to be voted out because she is the only one not immune.
That has to be the worst fucking feeling. That had to be the worst. Rest in peace. I'm so sorry, girl. That poor woman.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Survivor has haunted her.
So, any votes cast for Ty, Aubrey, Sarah, Troyzan will not count. You could not vote for Culpepper. He had immunity, which means, Suri, it doesn't matter what votes are in the urn, because the only person who can receive votes is you. And for what it's worth, not a single vote in here has your name on it. This is a historic tribal council. Most idols ever played at a tribal, 3. Most people ever safe at a tribal, 5. And the most significant and devastating part of tonight's history-making tribal for you, Suri, is you become the first person in 34 seasons to be voted out simply because there literally is no other choice. There's no need to revote.
And so there's that. And then there's also like this new bubbling controversy is how many 2-time winners of Survivor are there in American Survivor? Is it 2 or is it 3? Because Sandra and Tony both won traditional 39-day seasons. They won their first season and then they won a returning season. So, you know, pretty standard for all of that. Poverty won her first season. And then her second win was in Australian Survivor, which was also only it was a 16-day season with 14 players from around the world, 1 tribe of Australians, 1 tribe of global. And again, that was like a very, like, people are wondering, like, is it because it was Australian Survivor? Is that, different because it was only 16 days? And there was a lot kind of made about how gender imbalanced that cast was, which people argued it favored poverty, but I'm kind of like, no. Like, no. People were just dumb and didn't know how to play around her. Like, that's a whole other thing. But I count poverty as absolutely a 2-time winner. But then that is also going into, like, then what is, Survivor? Does that mean that every Australian winner is inherently better because every Australian player has played longer than people when they win their first season? Because American Survivor is 39 days. Australian Survivor is anywhere from 46 to 50.
Oh my God.
One season was over 54 days, I think. Like, so
Jeez.
That's almost 2 months, which is like completely different. And, we'll be getting into this a lot, is, as much as people are saying like Australian Survivor is real Survivor now and all of that, it's like I mentioned in the episode, is like, it's every season is always too long. They never know. Like, I've never seen a cast that has been fully properly represented despite the extra airtime. Like, it still has a lot of the editing problems. And again, you have so many episodes. There's just so many weird twists that, like, all they do is extend time, and, like, they don't complicate the game in interesting ways. Like, in terms of absolutely broken twist, there's famously the advantage that let someone just cancel a tribal council whenever they wanted, which is wild. Like, how much that fundamentally changes the nature of the game compared to like a safety without power, which is like, okay, you get to leave tribal council, but everyone else is still like kind of going there. It has to do with a sense of fairness, of how do we have a shared reality when there's so many things that are kind of like fundamentally different that we have to engage with. The big, most controversial change of the new era was Survivor went down from 39 to 26 days, and a lot of other things have happened. Like, it is different. Like, we live in a different society. And again, like, a lot of these changes are in response to something. I will also say is, I know Jeff he is a sweetheart. He is excited. He loves the game. And I know he has a lot of control, but I think we also have to understand what the television market is right now. I don't think we're leaving Fiji again. The network proved that you could do an okay season in 26 days, so that's the norm now. I think it's CBS who doesn't want to go back and kind of like pushing these things. I think it is like an that kind of in-shitification of just that is corrupting everything.
So Russell, you're the reason why I wanted to get on Survivor. I loved how ruthless you played, how great you played. I just fell in love with the game. So I want to thank you personally for introducing me to the game. But so it's an honor for you to be here.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be here. So I think I hear that most of the time, that back in those days, they had such great seasons. I even loved Gabon. So it's, now we have the new 40s.
I mean, you really don't have Survivor seasons like yours anymore. Do you have any regrets at all looking back on any of your seasons that you maybe would have done differently?
The first time I played the game, I was...
Before Russell answers, want to say a quick thank you to the sponsor of this video. Noble Gold Investments is pleased to let you know that gold is the best performing asset for 2022. According to longtermtrends.net, gold has actually outperformed the S&P 500, the Dow, and Bitcoin for 2022. So
I think that one of the things that is the cause for just everything getting worse in our society is not just the internet per se, but how it allows us to kind of, atomize everything to the point where we no longer have any kind of, not only like third spaces, but just kind of coherent world and monoculture that we can kind of have. Yeah, things are getting worse because now you just have this kind of corporate sin eater that's going to kind of push the unpopular thing and then just kind of take the feedback that's all negative. And if they're able to kind of take the hit, then all the other companies are just going to slowly start to do that and then just kind of adopt those practices. And because we don't have this any kind of, common point of comparison, we're only really going to listen to what the loudest voices are in terms of how we want to fix things and how to be able to kind of settle it. I mean, everything is not just a shittier version of itself, but even the process of accessing like the shittier version is getting worse. I mean, you used to have planned obsolescence where you would have this thing that worked and it would just break down. But sometimes you could be able to manage to use the kind of lesser version of the thing. Now you don't even get that. You don't even get a thing. Everything's just a dumb subscription service where it's not like you can hold off or make do buying the thing. You just get something that's worse than the previous edition, and you just kind of have to stick with it and deal with that. And I mean, it's the reason those loud voices on the internet are able to have so much kind of value and comparison is because, we don't have a monoculture anymore. We don't have this kind of shared standard of what we are supposed to do. I've said it a million times before. It's just like, this is how we're supposed to act. We have a definition of normal. Granted, that's problematic and hard to be able to do, but we don't have normal anymore. So we don't have something as a standard to then compare it to and see whether or not something is good. We just kind of have whatever we're hearing, and then we don't get to anecdotally really compare it to people. We just get this one view, and then in order to kind of contribute to it, we just more and more make that view our thing and engage with it. And like, Misty, I don't know about you, but it's just like every time I try like for a project or an episode we're going to do, I just like, all right, let's go to the community. And I just have to like first just like get a wave of all of the stuff that we're getting, and then just get like kind of insanely depressed that like it's not just like a bad or hateful opinion or something that I disagree with. It is just like the most deranged, just unfocused, like everything just sounds like weird, just projection of someone's weird psychosexual fears. And then instead of just like it influencing them, it's now the only personality trait you can kind of have. And the consequences, of course, that we're the ones who are going to have to deal with it.
This isn't a joke. There's naked pictures of me all over the internet. Like what you see? I hope you do, because there's plenty more where that came from. What is going on? Who's jacking off to this? It's not me. Maybe it's you. Maybe it's your family.
Yes, I am a simp. I'm a normie, whatever. I'm a Jeff apologist. I understand the positions he's in. I get it. He wants the show to appeal to people in various ways. And I think that I come at this, like, as a fan, there's a lot of... as someone analyzing the game, there's a lot to dislike about Winners of War. I like it when my silly little computer friends are hanging out. I think it was fan service, but like, I don't think there's a better moment in Survivor history than the Winners at War family visit, where they're just like, screw it, everyone not only is going to get a loved one's visit, we're bringing your entire family. Yeah, it's self-indulgent, but I think it's earned it. You have people who like really are passionate and care about the game and everything. I know there's a lot of like accusations of influencers or people just want to be on to kind of like bolster their thing, but I feel like that's kind of always been a thing on reality TV, like number one. Yeah. And number two is, I think that's just like, I wonder how much of that is just those are the types of people who want to be on television now. In terms of like, those are the personality of like, that is the pool that they're applying to, like of who is applying, because
I would argue that's always been the pool. I think it's just come in different colors, like you've said, Max, in the past.
The Mactor era, the model/actor.
Yeah. Yeah, like I think it's really just come in different colors. Like in the early 2000s, you didn't have the term influencer, but people were trying to make a name for themselves on Flavor of Love or Next Top Model. Like people were trying to become models, become celebrities, like become Kardashians. Like
some of the
people were starting to
on these shows spun off into their own shows. There's also like, what are we wanting out of this thing? Because again, why do you want liberal democracy? Is it because you find a certain value with it? Or is it just because, like, this is what I was told and it's what I understand, and I don't want to have to deal with, like, fundamental change if I don't want to? Like, are you going along to get along? Is there an actual benefit to this type of thing? Like, what are we doing? And then if so, it's like, if that's our ethos, then how do we keep it and how do we work within this system now? I will defend the new era. There are a bunch of concerns and things outside of their control. Jeff even said, like, we wanted to do a longer season for 50, but the Fijian government was like, you already signed your contracts. They can only do it after they renegotiate their lease, which who knows when that's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, contracts can sometimes get signed out, you know. It just depends. Like, sometimes you sign out contracts for a decade. I mean, and that's just the nature of what, I mean, that's just the nature of nature and politics and everything. So, I mean, I don't know. I think that's a good way to end, I think, the first intro.
Of what we're going to be doing, and it's really funny that everything is just Survivor's just so America of like, oh, why didn't you like this season? Like, Jeff famously has a very wonky ranking system for seasons that he has openly admitted is like, I don't really view it as a product. I rank it based on what it was like for me to make that season. You know, famously...
That makes sense, though. It's a little more personal.
It is, but like famously, like one of the more hated seasons, Worlds Apart, was a season he was really excited about because it did have this guy who like basically wins immunity challenges to end up winning the game, which people have said is actually like kind of exciting if you're in the moment to just see how is he gonna pull it off week after week.
You are witnessing 16 Americans begin an adventure that will forever change their lives. They've been given 2 minutes to salvage whatever they can off this boat. Their destination, this island right here, a beautiful but dangerous jungle in the middle of the South China Sea.
Oh, we got our life jackets we gotta get.
For the next 39 days, they'll be marooned, left to fend for themselves, no creature comforts. They are wiping the slate clean. 16 strangers forced to band together, carve out a new existence, totally accountable for their actions. They must learn to adapt or they're voted off. In the end, only one will remain and will leave the island with $1 million in cash as their reward. 39 days, 16 people, one survivor.